Have you ever been walking or riding on a bike path or driving down the road, and then you see another type of vehicle on the road, whether it's an electric scooter or an e-bike or a monowheel, that's a one-wheeled scooter, and they're on the sidewalk or they're in the bike path or they're on the road, and you're like, wait a minute, is that allowed to be there? Well, there are some changes happening this Thursday in the province. Starting this Thursday, the ban on e-scooters, monowheels, and electric skateboards on roadways and bike paths will be no more. It's already raising some concerns about safety and has Montreal officials say they'll be reviewing the change to the Highway Safety Code. With more on this, let's go to Louis Lalonde, spokesperson at Vélo Québec. Louis, welcome to the program.
For having me.
So let's talk about the changes on Thursday. What should our listeners know? What is changing in Quebec as of Thursday?
Yes. So in theory, because in practice it was a whole different thing, but in theory, right now, e-scooters and all other micromobility devices weren't allowed on bike paths and our roads. Starting Thursday, that will change. It will now be legal, as there will be a pilot by the MTQ to allow those devices, and there will be a data collection process for the upcoming 3 years to make sure we're on the right track. So the measure specifies many things in regard of safety. So there's a 25 kilometers per hour speed limit, everything regarding reflectors, braking systems is also included in this pilot. So from starting on Thursday, everything will be allowed within those parameters.
Now, you mentioned before there's a difference between what is legal and what's tolerated. Clearly, we were going through some sort of a mix where a lot of stuff was tolerated.
Exactly.
Can I get your take on whether or not these changes to just say, okay, these things will be allowed, do you think it's a positive thing?
It is. It is because when there's a lack of regulation, nobody benefits from it. From now on, we do have a sort of a code, a frame to work with that will allow proper integration of those devices on our bike path and our road. So it is a good thing. And the various measures that are provided in the pilot will provide a certain level of safety for everyone. The speed limit, for instance, at 25 kilometers will allow proper integration in this within the circulation on bike paths. It will make sure that users of those e-scooters and other devices are safe, but people surrounding them, the one that they're riding with them, will also feel safe. So it is a good measure.
So, Louis, I want to get to that, the feeling safe thing, because, I'm not very good at cycling, okay? I wish I was better. I wish I could get more practice in, right? And I'd love to take the bike paths. And sometimes I get anxiety thinking about the bike paths if I'm worried that I'd frustrate the person behind me. Now I'm thinking about a motorized device that's on those same bike paths and saying, oh boy, I really don't want to be on these bike paths anymore. What is the right mix here on, allowing certain, devices that have higher speeds than a traditional bicycle?
That's an excellent question, and you're probably not alone having these reflections. That being said, with the 25 kilometers, we believe there will be a proper integration. Now, in the end, there is always a way to behave on those bike paths. You need to be respectful of other users. Bike paths are not only for people that are speeding. It's for children, elders, families to get around. Mobility is a right. Therefore, we need to behave accordingly. And with the provisions in the pilot, we believe we'll have a proper integration. Now, that being said, we expect that the pilot would shed some light on the need for better infrastructures that are properly protected, unidirectional bike lanes, something closer to what we have on the REV that can provide a feeling of safety for everyone. So beyond the way that we frame those the usage of those devices, the infrastructure themselves can help you feel safer.
So let's talk about that infrastructure, because it certainly feels, you look at some of the bike paths in the city, they're getting busier and busier and busier.
Yes.
So what happens when you throw, even things like electric skateboards into the mix? What do you think will happen?
That's another excellent question. Yes, and in a sense, it's an interesting problem that we have. We're having people that are riding on smaller devices, electrical devices, so it's a greener way to get around, right? That being said, once again, we're having certain infrastructure that are starting to date a little bit. So we will have data collection within the pilot, because right now we don't have much of a proper idea on how to integrate those devices. With the process coming up for the next 3 years, once again, I believe that we'll have the idea that we need wider infrastructure that are properly protected.
We're with Louis Lalonde, a spokesperson for Vélo Québec. So, Louis, representing cyclists in this province here, is there a difference between these various additional modes? Like, can you say, well, you know what, the e-scooters aren't that bad, but the mono wheels, not so sure. Are they all the same, or do they need to be looked at separately?
Yeah. Are they all the same? That's a good question. And once again, that's why we needed a pilot. Because if you look back 5 years, those devices were not as present on our bike paths. Therefore, we need to assess the phenomenon better. And that's what the pilot will do. So is there a difference? Is there certain elements that need to be applied to a certain device? That's what the pilot will show. We were needing such a measure, of course, because right now there's a multiplication of those devices, and I cannot fathom what will come in the upcoming years if we don't have this data collection.
So it's a 3-year pilot, right? That's
yes.
A 3-year pilot. So what are you going to be what data are you going to be looking at over the next 3 years to give you answers? Will it come down to accidents, stuff like that? What's the data you'll be looking at?
Well, the data collection, just to clarify, is not collected by Vélo Québec. It will be the MTQ. So I cannot speak for themselves, but I think we can expect measures of not only collisions and crashes, but also how people are feeling in regards of their safety when they're riding with those devices. That will probably include questions regarding speed limit, mass of those devices, for instance.
Louis, we're going to have to leave it there. I want to thank you for coming on and letting us know what changes in Quebec on Thursday. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is Louis Lalonde, a spokesperson with Vélo Québec.